Hey everyone, how you doing? Jason Lawrence here. Today I want to talk about your finances and budgeting and taxes. Stuff that isn't really necessarily fun to think about or to take part in, but you have to. So I've struggled since I've started my sales career. I've been 100% commission. And that means that I get my entire commission check. Nobody takes any taxes out of it. And I'm responsible for doing that. Now, if you don't have a good system set up, you're doomed to fail. If you set yourself up as a business or as an S Corp, what that means is that you are now treating yourself like a business. Even though you're the only employee, it's going to be set up so when you get a commission check, that commission check is going to get put into an account, and it should be a business checking account. And you should have an accountant taking care of this, unless you can handle it. I mean, you can save some money doing that. I feel like it's going to be better off for me to work with an accountant and make sure that I'm, up to date with everything. So basically, setting yourself up as a business, your commission check is now going into a business checking account. And then every 2 weeks, you're going to get a payroll check cut to you for the amount that you deem necessary. So in order to make all of this work, you need to put a budget together and determine how much money you need a month to just pay your bills and groceries and eating out and all of your monthly expenses. And then you kind of need to break it down into what do I need a week in order to pay all of those bills and serve all of your monthly needs. Then you can determine how much of a paycheck you're going to need every 2 weeks or every week, however you set it up. The other portion of this is called the distribution. So you're going to be putting your commission check into a business checking account. You're going to get cut a payroll check every week or bi-weekly. And by the way, that payroll check amount is what your income taxes are going to be based off of. The rest of it is going to be based on the business tax rate. The business tax rate is better than the income tax rate. That's why you want to set yourself up as a business. So that is step number one. Now, setting yourself up as a business, you need to make sure you've got a couple different accounts to feed into and make sure everything is getting paid. So myself, I am operating off of, and this is going to sound complicated at first, 4 different accounts. I have a business checking account, and when you set yourself up as a business, you're going to need to register as a business and actually set yourself up as a business. So you're going to need to open a business checking account and a business savings account. And I'll tell you why you're going to need to do that. But this is how I have everything broken down and I have everything going. So I get a commission check and that goes into my business checking account. Now, from my business checking account, my accountant will then take what he needs for, I get a bi-weekly payroll check. He'll take what I need for the bi-weekly payroll check and he will put into my checking account that amount of the bi-weekly paycheck. So I've got a business checking account, I've got a business savings account, and then I've got a personal checking account. I've got all of my bills like my mortgage, home internet payment, everything like that gets directly debited from my personal checking account. And I need to make sure I have enough in the personal checking account so that as bills hit, I have enough in there and it's not being overdrafted. So you want to make sure you've got the proper amount coming every week or every 2 weeks into your personal checking account. But your business checking account is where everything goes to, and then you want to have a designated amount. You need to figure out whatever that weekly amount is going to be that's going to cover your taxes for the year. So let's just say, with the income that you're making, you need to put away $500 a week into to pay taxes. So that's what the business savings account is for. So the check goes into the business checking account, and then every week, again, you can have this all automatic. Every week you can set it up so that your business savings account pulls $500 a week from the business checking account. That way, anytime your accountant needs to make a state tax payment or the federal tax payment or wherever he needs to do to suffice for making tax payments, the amount that he needs is in that business savings account. So business checking account is where the check initially goes. Every week or every 2 weeks, the deemed amount that you need to pay all of your bills is going to go into your personal checking account. I advise that you don't even touch that personal checking account. So what I do on top of everything is I have another bank that I have another personal checking account set up for. And I've got just a debit card for that account. And so I do have a certain amount every week that transfers into that other bank's checking account. And that is what we use. We've determined what we need per week for gas, Amazon, because a lot of the things that we order now, necessities, are coming from Amazon, and you need to have a card to be able to make those payments. So I've budgeted a certain amount every week to go to the other bank's checking account, and that is a card that both my wife and myself have. I try to not use the debit card for the personal account that the mortgage gets paid out of, that the internet gets paid out of, this, that, and the other get paid out of, because I don't ever want to take money out of there and then when the mortgage payment pulls or the internet payment pulls, I'm at a negative and I'm having to pay an overdraft fee. So just, you want to forget about that. You want to set it up so that everything automatically goes into the business checking. Automatically, once a week, you've got a portion going into the business savings and you've got a portion going into the personal checking so that it's taking care of all of your bills. Now, on top of all of this, I've got an envelope system. So instead of just taking the weekly amount that I need for eating out or for this, that, or the other groceries, I find it's easier to keep track of saying what I need per week, figuring out what you need per month for groceries, divide that by 4. That's what I need per week for groceries. So I have an envelope for groceries, and every week I take the total amount for any of those things that I have envelopes for. Let's just say that's $500 a week between the 6 different envelopes that you have. You've got a Target envelope, you've got a Walgreens envelope, you've got a groceries envelope. This way, you're not taking more than you need when you're going to those places. You know what's in the envelope, take the envelope with, and you can only spend what's in the envelope. So say you've got $500 a week going into your different envelopes. Now, once my weekly amount goes into the personal checking from the business checking account, I am going to the bank and I am withdrawing $500 in cash every week, and I'm putting it into each of those envelopes. That way, when we need groceries, when we need to make a Target run, when we need this, that, or the other, we bring the appropriate envelope and we're not overspending because we know what's in the envelope. You have to keep on top of it. You have to keep track of your money if you want your money to do what you want it to do. So the other part of this is setting up a, retirement plan as well. That's going to be part of your monthly budget, and that's going to be something that you want just directly debited from your personal checking, because you need to have that savings for retirement. So the envelope system and everything that I've got set up right now has been working out tremendously, and this seems to be the key for me. Now, to break this down even a little bit further, so the biggest problem for me was inconsistency in when I received my commission checks. So maybe I would get a commission check, maybe I'd have 4 closings in a month and I would get, $30,000 of commission checks. But then I didn't have any closings for the next 2 months. And I still got some checks, but they weren't as big as the closings check. Well, my issue was that I was taking all of that money, just putting it all into my checking account, paying my bills, buying what I wanted, trying to set some aside for taxes, and I just wasn't keeping very good track. In order to keep track of, if you take a big lump sum and you put it into an account, you better be very disciplined. You better be writing down every day what you're spending money on, and you better be doing your budget every day to make sure you've got enough in there for what needs to go out. I can't do that. I don't want to have the time to do that. I'd rather set up this system, which I did, in which I'm still kind of setting up and shaping and molding, and it's taking a lot of time to do this, but now everything's automatic. So every time I get a commission check, I just deposit it into the business checking account. I've got enough built up in there now to where that never gets low enough to where there's not enough in there to cover what's going into the business savings or what's going into the personal checking. I've got the amounts that I need in each of the accounts, and I'm not overspending because I've got my envelope system. So I've got my bills being directly debited from the personal checking. I've got my envelope system. So I'm only spending what I deemed I need to spend for my monthly and weekly budget. If I were to spend more than that, then that would take from one of the accounts, and something would end up happening where eventually I wouldn't have enough in this account to cover what needs to be covered. Every time I have a closing, I'm going to take the check, bring it to the bank. I'm putting it into the business checking account. And even though I may deposit 2 or 3 checks in 1 week, and I surpass the amount that I actually need to put in there, or the amount needed to go into the personal checking, we want that business checking account to build up. So ideally, this is the incredible scenario. So you've been doing this all year. You've been disciplined. You've taken all of your commission checks, you put them right into your business checking account, and you end up actually making more money than what you were budgeting, or what your budget says that you need to spend to pay taxes and bills. So taxes are paid, bills are paid, retirement account is accounted for, and you're saving and putting away, and you've got some extra money in your business checking account. If you're just setting yourself up for the first year, don't touch it. Leave yourself a cushion in there, because maybe you get off to a slow start the following year and your bills are coming, you need to transfer from business checking into business savings, and you need to transfer from business checking into personal checking, and you haven't had commissions yet this year, and now your business checking account's getting low, and oh man, next time you get that hit and it transfers money into your personal checking account, maybe you're going to be below water a little bit. So if you end up with a surplus at the end of the year, that is amazing, outstanding. It's going to feel incredible, but leave it in your business checking account. Go through a whole nother year again, and if the same thing happens, you've got your budget set up, you end up making more than what your budgeted bills are and what your taxes are, and now you've got a surplus again. Now you know you can start kind of setting your budget up accordingly. You know what you're going to be making. It's more than what you have budgeted, and you know you're going to have a little bit of a surplus at the end of the year. So at the end of that second year, now maybe you've got the 2 years of surplus in that business checking account. Now maybe you can take some of that and have a little bit of a fun. Use that as your Christmas account. Okay, that's what I wanted to share. That's what I've got going on. Set yourself up as an S Corp. That's going to give you the biggest tax savings. If you don't know what that is, go find an accountant and have that accountant set yourself up as an S Corp. Use that accountant to help you set up those different accounts and have him do payroll, he or she do payroll, and they can make things a lot simpler for you. All right, that's all I had. I hope this information was good. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you need any more specific information. If there's something I forgot to cover here, I can certainly give you more detail. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.